is why the father gave the property to the last son who had no green beans to give back to the father after they harvested a month or so.
They don't grow that fast?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, well, did I say a month? Did I? Yeah. Maybe 2 months.
He sold them.
I'm sorry?
He sold them and made money?
Instead of give the father, no. That's the easiest
The beans were already the father's, because it was his property, so they were giving back.
No. Good answer.
He was in the temple.
I'm sorry?
He was in the temple.
You mean to
The
give
son.
the temple?
Son was in the temple praying. No.
No.
He needed it the most because he is not that capable.
Right. No.
I thought that too.
Anybody else? All right. Well, you give up, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Well,
all right.
if you give up, I mean, I will give you the answer at the end of the show. You need to wait. All right, so let me start with the first story. Once upon a time, there was a hunter out hunting deer in the forest. He hadn't caught anything for a long time. One day, he decided to go to the forest again. He went deep and deep into the thick forest. It was dark. There were spiderwebs in his eyes, and many dangerous animals like tigers and lions and mosquitoes as big as his hand. He kept going and going. Finally, he arrived at the clearing where there were few trees. He sat down, relaxed, looked up to the sky, felt the sunshine on his face. Suddenly, he heard the beautiful sound from high up in the trees. That was Garavek bird, a magic bird. The man was amazed and ran home as fast as he could. When he arrived at his village, out of breath, many people could see him. As soon as he caught his breath again, he told them what he had heard. So some people were amused, and others were offended by the lies. They thought he was lying. And yet others, well, they were just hungry for deer. But one girl, a young, beautiful widow, she was enchanted. She asked the hunter if she could accompany him on his next trip or not. The hunter agreed. So, when the time came, the hunter and the girl set out together. They arrived at the clearing, but it was silent. They saw the guard of it put high up in the same trees, but no noise. So they waited. At last, they heard the beautiful sound from Garavek bird again. So the girl was enchanted and falling. Soon, her songs spread through the village, and many people would gather outside her house to listen to her songs. And soon after that, the king heard about this beautiful instrument. He ordered her to his courts. I have heard people talking about your songs, said the king. These two songs are very famous. Play me more songs. Of course, the girl played a very beautiful song to him. When the song finished, she looked to the king to see his reaction. I've written as I have played, said the king again. This is good, but not good enough. Play me some more. Of course, the girl played another, then another, until she had exhausted her repertoire. And indeed, exhausted herself. When the songs finished with aching fingers and tired lungs, she looked at the king again. This time, the king smiled a little. King Lai, tyranny, candid. Like, good job. This time was better. So, can means better. This is where the name of the instrument comes from. So, this story introduces a few interesting features of love folk tales. Firstly, it's about the feeling of loving something beautiful. And of course, it's a common theme in tales all over the world, not just in Laos. Secondly, it's about forest. Forest is very important to our folk tales, as so much of the country is covered by forest for a long time. Even today, you can still see Luang Prabang surrounded by forest. Lastly, it's about the king. Laos is to be a kingdom, the kingdom of Lan Sang. Lan Sang means land of million elephants. The kingdom was established in 1353 by the king Zhao Fangun. It's a bit difficult to pronounce his name. Can you try to say it after me? Zhao Fangun. Once again. You may have seen his name even in the map of Luang Prabang city, or if you go to the main street just outside the post office, you may see his name on the street sign, and he's a very important king. As you would expect for the first king of such an ancient kingdom, there is an extra story about him. As the first son of the king of the kingdom before Lan Sang, people were very excited by the birth of Zhao Fangun. However, the excitement very quickly became short because he was born with 33 teeth. At that time, people believed if someone was born that way, it meant he or she would bring the bad luck. So, the king asked for advice from many Madhu or astrologers, and they all said the same thing. The boy must go, the boy must live. If he doesn't, something bad would happen with the kingdom. The king was very sad to hear that. But because he was worried about the safety of the kingdom in the future, he agreed. So they built a boat, like bamboo boat, and had a great ceremony. The boy was sent off down the Mekong. As you can see, the Mekong in the town at the moment is very calm and very tranquil. But a little bit afterwards, there are many dangerous rapids. Even for skilled or experienced fishermen, still dangerous. But for a little boy alone in a boat, it's a death. And yet the boy survived. He went on a great adventure all the way down to Khmer Kingdom, which is now we call Cambodia or Cambodia. In the Khmer Kingdom, the king saw that he was a special child, so he took care of him as his own son. The boy grew up as a prince. When he was a young man, he married a Khmer princess. Her name Keo Kenya. They lived together in the kingdom for many years, and they had luxury things and everything they needed. But something troubled the prince. He was so sad. He couldn't finish his meals and couldn't sleep at nights. And for a long time, he couldn't understand why he was so sad. Finally, he saw it. He was homesick. As soon as he did this, he couldn't continue stay in Angkor Wat anymore. When he was 37, he and his wife returned here, Luang Prabang, where he was born. He established the kingdom of Lan Sang and brought the Buddhism as the religion. At that time, the kingdom was one of the most powerful kingdom in the region, and Zhao Fangun was one of the most powerful kings. He ruled the kingdom for 20 years until something happened, which meant he had to stop. One day, before she was old, his wife, Gail Genya, died. And after this, he was so sad and so heartbroken that he couldn't continue ruling the kingdom anymore. And so ends the story of Zhao Fan. But this is only the beginning of the story of Luang Prabang. The name Prabang came from Prabang Buddha, a statue which was given from Angkor Wat to Lan Sang. Luang just means capital. Luang Prabang was the capital of Laos before it was moved to Vientiane. Even it isn't the capital anymore, it's still very special in the whole heart of people all over the country. For example, there is a popular folk song, it's called Kaptum Luang Prabang. It mentions about a man from outside Luang Prabang who wants to be the husband of Luang Prabang woman. Bồi lôi hơi tay thành na ơi, thà đây mà bên thời có khôngจะสุขใจแล้วน้อง Again, this is we call cartoon Lopabang. It's very popular. Usually it has man and woman singing together, and usually it's longer too. I sing short version tonight just because that's only me. Singing and storytelling is still a popular form of entertainment all over the country. And the most popular character in Laos stories is called Ai Siam Mian. Ai Siam Mian was a clever young man. He was supposed to be the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang. But he was very kiddy, like very naughty. He loves to play tricks on people, especially on the king. In one story, the king calls Ai Siam Mian for a meeting. Siam Mian, I want you to come tomorrow morning. Come very early. Come before the rooster crows. Your Majesty, you want me to come before the rooster? Yes, that's right, before the rooster. The next morning, Ai Siam Mian still stayed in bed even longer than usual. A little bit after lunch, he goes to the king's palace and he walks in with his hands behind his back. Siam Mian, why are you so late? Your Majesty, I am not late, said Ai Siam Mian. And that shows the king what he has behind his back. It's a rooster. See, Your Majesty, I came before the rooster, just like you said. Very naughty. Very cute. Another story of Ai Siam Mian. This time the king makes challenge for Ai Siam Mian. He challenges Ai Siam Mian to trick him into getting into the pond, like fish pond. Siam Mian, if you can do this, then I will admit that you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang. Your Majesty, I will not try to trick you into the pond. However, if you were in the pond already, I'm sure I can make you come out. All right, said the king, and he got into the pond. Siam Mian, if you are the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang, make me come out. Well, Your Majesty, why would I do that? After all, I just threw you into the pond. Did you know? So the king had to accept that Siam Mian was the most clever man in the whole kingdom of Lansang. Anyway, we also have many stories that explain about the origin of natural features. For example, the Mekong was created as a truce between two fighting nagas or dragons or water serpents. One naga named Sisupon was very angry when his friend gave him a gift of porcupine meat. Naga Sisupon had never seen a porcupine before and thought the long hair sticking out of the meat was the bone. He saw a small amount of the meat and the big long hair or bone and thought his friend was very stingy. So he started a great big fight, which is only finished when the gods got involved. They told them to stop fighting, to keep them separated, and made them dig 2 rivers. One of these rivers was the Chao Phraya in Bangkok, Thailand. The other was the Mekong. The Nam Khan River was also created as a result of a fight. In this story, 2 brothers were fighting over a pair of elephant tusks that their father left them. one brother cut the other into a half. So all that was left was the top half of his body. He had no legs. He couldn't walk. He could only crawl. So he crawled into Nam Khan River. This is where the name comes from. Nam means river. Khan means crawl. Once he was in the river, he became Ai Dong Guang. Ai Dong Guang was the giant snake that used to live at the end of Nam Khan River, where it meets the Mekong. He used to stop boats from passing and was a very dangerous snake. Until one day, he was killed. So, if you go down to the place where the two rivers meet, you will see a big rock in the water. This, according to tradition, is the body of Ai Dong Guang. And another story, this time is about the origin of Mount Pussy or Pussy Mountain. In this story, the Queen Sita from Ramayana lives in Lokabang Royal Palace. One day, the queen was very hungry for mushrooms. But she didn't want to leave the palace. She asked the Monkey King or Hanuman to bring her some mushrooms. Of course, said Hanuman. He was a little bit relieved about simply getting mushrooms. However, his relief didn't last long. This mushroom, said the queen. The very specific kind of mushroom, the kind of mushroom that I want, comes from Sri Lanka. Hanuman couldn't believe it. Even though he could fly, Sri Lanka was still a long way to go for mushrooms. But the queen was the queen. He had to do it. He set up to the mountain in Sri Lanka where he knew there was a lot of mushrooms. A while later, he came back with a big basket of mushrooms. Oh, Khop Chai Hanuman, said the queen. Like, oh, thank you, Hanuman. They look delicious. But I'm sorry they aren't the kind of mushroom that I wanted right now. Maybe you can try it again. Hanuman was a little bit confused, but of course he agreed. He set up to the mountain again. A while later, he came back with another basket of different mushrooms, but it's still not the kind of mushroom that the queen wants. Your Majesty, said Hanuman, perhaps you can tell me the name of the specific kind of mushroom that you want, and that way would be easier for me to bring it to you. Sorry, Hanuman, said the queen. I can't. You see, the problem was this. The kind of mushroom that the queen wants is called hexanun, or the monkey ear mushrooms. The queen knew that if she turned this Hanuman should upset the Monkey King. So instead she kept sending him up to the mountain and hoping he would bring the right one. Hanuman kept on going up to the mountain and kept on bringing the wrong kind of mushrooms until suddenly he had an idea. He set up to the mountain again. After a while he was back. This time he didn't have the basket of mushrooms. He had the whole top of the mountain. He put the mountain top in front of the queen and said, "There, your Majesty, the kind of mushroom that you want must be there somewhere." So the mountain had stood in front of the palace ever since. It named after the Queen Sita, who is the Lao word for mountain. Sea came from the Queen Cedar. That is why we call it Pussy. And that was the story. But the story that I want to tell you now for the rest of the show is about two different Luangprabang mountains, Phu Thao and Phu Nang. Long ago, there was a poor family. A father and 12 daughters were searching for food in the forest. They went day and day into the forest until they were very tired. And they stopped at the clearing to have a rest. Kids, here's some bamboo, said the father. You all can go and fill up this bamboo with water. The river's over there. I will wait here. In fact, the father has planned to abandon his daughters because he was married. He couldn't take care of all of them. The 12 girls, did you know that the father had cut a little hole at the bottom of every piece of bamboo? They went to the river, trying to fill up the bamboo, but they couldn't. They tried again and again all day until it got dark. They returned to the clearing. When they got there, it was completely empty. Ipoi! Ipoi, you said it! Shouted the girls, like, Daddy, Daddy, where are you? When there was no answer, the girls started crying, and they cried until the first night. The next morning, the youngest sister was woken up. She thought it was their father. In fact, it's not. It's a giant. A big-legged giant. What are you doing, little girls, here? Well, we are waiting for father, answered the girl. Your father is about this tall with the black short hair? Yes, how did you know that? Well, I saw him 5 minutes ago. He was under a mango tree. Mango tree was okay. Well, yes, he was very happy, eating the big yellow mangoes, eating and dancing and singing. I remember what was he singing? Oh yes, ดีใจดีบ่มีลูก12 คนเองแล้ว like happy happy no more 12 daughters. When the girls heard about this, they started crying again. But the giant offered them to the house. It was a huge house. So the 12 girls went with the giant to their fathers and lived there for 9 years. But one day, the 12 girls were exploring the palace. They saw something that they wanted to the palace. They were walking down to a dark corridor when they came to a room. Inside the room, they saw many bones of mice, elephants, even humans. But worse than this, on the shelf inside the jar, they saw a living beating heart, which is the giant's heart. When they saw this, they started running away from the palace. Eventually, they arrived at the city of the king, Balu Pase. In the city, the king saw that there were beautiful ladies, so he married them, all of them. When the giant heard about this, he was very angry. and she transformed herself to be a beautiful woman. This chance she had planned to go to the king's palace to be his queen. But before she left, she told her adopted daughter, her name Gang Hee, to take care of her heart. Gang Hee, I keep my heart inside the room, try to close the door, make sure it is safe, and I'll make sure the 12 girls suffer. The next morning, the Chan set out to the king's palace. When she got there, the king saw she was such a beautiful lady. So he married her too. Now, the 12 girls were moved to stay in another part of the palace. They were very sad. But it's not suffering enough, thought the Chan Queen. One day, the Chan Queen pretended to be sick. The king went to get the Mardu, or astrologer, to find out what was wrong. Meanwhile, the Chan Queen transformed herself to be a Mardu and to the king. Your Majesty, I am very sorry to tell you about your wife's sickness. The reason why she's sick is because of 12 sisters. What we need to do is to take out the eyes of them. The eyes must be sent to the giant's palace. Meanwhile, the girls must be sent away, never to return to a cave in the far, far north. The Chan Queen knew that the 12 girls wouldn't live for long without their eyes. But she didn't know that her servants forgot to take all the eyes out. There was one eye of the younger sister left. With this eye, she could see things like small insects inside the cave. They were able to be alive by eating these insects. Until one day, the younger sister, Zantapadum, gave birth. After she gave birth, to show something brightly colored in the cave, she took the baby boy, and went to see it. When she got closer, she saw it was a rooster, a big yellow rooster. Zantapadum was thinking how to cook the rooster when suddenly it spoke. I am special rooster. I'm from the ham and I'm here to protect your son. Every day I have to fly out to collect food to feed your son to make him stronger and growing fast. This is exactly what the rooster did. The boy grew up a strong man. And one day he decided to go off to kill the rooster. They went to the local villages and entered many competitions like boat racing, rooster fights and buffalo fights and so on. They won every competition they played. One day the king heard about this skillful boy. He ordered him to his court. I have heard people talking about you, boy. They said you won many competitions. What is your name? I have no name, Your Majesty. Where are you from? I'm from far away, Your Majesty. How far? In the far north, Your Majesty. What's the name of your village? I come from no village, Your Majesty. I come from a cave. So, when the king heard about this, he remembered this was his son. So the first thing the king did was to give the boy the name Putasen. The second thing asked about his mother and aunties. When the king asked about this, Putasen lied and told the king that his mother and aunties were already dead. The reason why Christian said this is because if the John Queen knew that his mother and aunties were still alive, she would have them killed. Also, if she knew who he was, she will have him killed as well. This is exactly what the champion tried to do. One morning she pretended to be sick again. And again she transformed herself to be a monk and to the king this. Your Majesty, this time your wife is very sick. What we need to do this time is to go to the judge's palace to get the medicines. The person who must go there must be put us in. Of course, this is a shock. But he also knew that his mother's eye and auntie's eyes were being kept in the Chinese palace. So he agreed. But before he sets off, the champion wrote a letter. The letter says, when this man arrives, please kill him. She put it to the bamboo tree to give to her daughter, Gang He, and then Putin set off into the forest on his journey. After a while, Putin stopped under a banyan tree to have a rest, and then he fasted. While he was sleeping, a hermit appeared in front of him. This hermit had a special power. He knew that something bad would happen with this man. So he pulled the letter out the bamboo tooth and read, this is about killing this man. So he destroyed the letter and wrote a new one. This time the letter says, when this man arrives, please marry him. He's a very nice man. Put it back, Buddha, and then it disappeared. When Buddha woke up, he continued his journey. And when he arrived at the Chinese palace, he knocked the door, like, and put his hand on the sword, ready to protect himself from the enemy. But when the door opened, he saw somebody like really beautiful. That was Gandhi. So, when Buddha saw Gam, he fell in love with her and he gave her the letter. After Gam, he read the letter. She fell in love with Buddha too. So they married each other and lived together in the palace. One day, Buddha was exploring the palace when he discovered the room with the child's heart. But not only this, he also saw the eyes of his mother and aunties. When he saw these, all his memories came back. He knew that he couldn't continue staying in the palace anymore. He had a plan to escape from the palace. So he organized a big party and got everybody in the palace Lao, like so drunk that the first day. While they were sleeping, Putin went to the room and collected all the eyes and the giant's heart, put into his bag, and then he left the palace. The next morning, Gandhi woke up. She couldn't find Putin in the palace. She asked her servants to look for him, but still couldn't see him. after a while, she suspected that he must have gone to his father's house. So she got the army to follow him. They caught up with Buddha Saint, who just finished crossing the river. Honey, honey, please look for me, I'm here! Shouted Gandhi. Buddha Saint didn't turn around. Gandhi called for the second time, but still, he didn't turn around. This time he put his fingers into his ears. Gandhi called for the third time. This time Buddha made many bamboo thorns and threw them across the river at Gandhi. Gandhi destroyed them, and then he made a big ball of fire and threw them across the river at Gandhi again. Again, Gandhi destroyed. Finally, he made the river rise up into a big wall of water. This time, Gandhi couldn't destroy it. All she could do just look through the water as Buddha walked away. Gandhi was so sad and so heartbroken that she died right there at the river bank. But before she died, she turned her face to the Tevada, or God in the heaven, and said, I love my husband so much. I gave him my heart. I gave him everything, but he abandoned me. I do not ask for any explanation why. All I ask is, may he die for love like I have done. So, when Buddha arrived at the cave, he put all the ice back into his mother and aunties. And they were at Buddha again. After that, he set up to the king's palace where the king and the young queen were eating lunch. Oh, welcome back, my son. Join us for lunch. Buddha sat down, put his bag on the table. What is that in the bag? Asked the king. Is that medicine? What happens at the medicine? Said Buddha. All the just have the power of life and death. Why Buddha was saying this? He pulled the heart out of the bag. When the champion saw this, was very angry, and she transformed herself to be a giant again, and she jumped at Buddha. But before she could get that, Buddha grabbed his sword and stabbed the heart. Immediately, the giant died like that. So, Buddha explained everything to his father, and the 12 girls were brought back to the palace and lived there happily. But something troubled Buddha. You see, he still missed his wife. His love to her was so strong that her never stopped being strong. Even at the river bank, the sound of her voice was so sweet to him that he had to use bamboo thorns, fire to silence it. He couldn't bear to hear her voice or turn around to see her face, because if he did, he knew that he couldn't continue helping his mother and aunties. But now he got his mother and aunties back, and they are back to the palace. He couldn't ignore his love anymore. So Buddhism decided to go back to see his wife again. When he arrived at the river bank, he was so sad and so heartbroken to see Gandhi's dead body there, that he gunned Jaitai, but stopped his heart. So he died right there. Buddha said, die for love, as Gandhi had done. Buddha died with his head at the feet of Gandhi. When the Tevada in the heavens saw this, they thought it wasn't right for a man to have his head at the feet of woman. That would be a bad example for next generation, because wife would look like the head of the family. So they rearranged positions. This time, Gandhi's head was at the feet of Buddha, and they have stayed like this ever since. So when you go down to the river after the show, you look across the Mekong River, you will see two mountains look like two people lying on their backs. The mountain in front of you is called Punang or Gur Mountain, and the smaller one on the left is called Pu Tao or Boy Mountain. These, according to traditions, are Putasen and Gandhi. Answer the riddle, yeah.
Because if he gave away the beans, he wouldn't have the most beans.
You mean like give to poor people or temple or something like that?
No, like when the sons all brought the beans to the
That's not
father
the
and
answer.
were here, they no longer have beans. So the one that didn't get the beans had the most beans. No?
No.
I tried.
Okay, I can tell you now. The reason was that the father tested them, which meant all the beans that he gave to his sons were cooked or boiled beforehand. And the dead seeds didn't grow. He testing them, testing them out. So when all of them went back home trying to grow a plant, nothing happened. A month or so, nothing happened. 9 sons. They really wanted property and they became very naughty. They went to the market and they bought some green beans from somebody there, which served the father. And the last one came with nothing because he was one who told the truth. Or he was one who was honest. Like honesty. Yes. Thank you for coming and have a good night.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh man. That was brutal.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah, I just got out of they did storytelling to tell me about this town that I'm in right now. So,
It's okay though, because you'll have to take your break.
now I'm getting ready to take a ride around. Maybe go to the night market.
What did you say? Oh, okay, you're like Umbrella Academy. Yeah. You see the color.
Yeah, so what's up, y'all? I couldn't really talk while I was in there. It's a really tight space, so even a whisper would have been loud. Okay, I'm in this on Facebook. All right, so all right, I catch y'all later. The reason I really went live on here was just to get the content on here, but save memory on my phone. Hold on, y'all, my bad. Fix this. There we go. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go live from the GoPro, and y'all can see me ride around the town at night.